The night shift at Pakistan's Deep Space Monitoring Station was usually quiet. Dr. Asad Khan sipped his third cup of tea as he watched the screens showing endless streams of data from the cosmos. It was 2:34 a.m. when everything changed. A loud beeping sound filled the control room. At first, he thought it was another piece of space debris, but the signal pattern was unlike anything he had ever seen. The quantum readings were off the charts. "Someone get Dr. Raman in here now," he called out to his team. Within minutes, the station's chief scientist arrived, her eyes widening as she looked at the data. "This is impossible," she whispered, adjusting her glasses. "These patterns, they're using quantum entanglement communication. We've only theorized about this technology." The signal was coming from the Kuiper Belt, far beyond Neptune's orbit. As they worked to decode it, more scientists gathered in the control room. The excitement in the air was electric. After 3 hours of intense work, they finally broke through. "This is Fleet Admiral Zextol of the Zarkax Federation. Our fleet of 300 ships is stranded following a critical drive malfunction, requesting immediate assistance from any advanced civilization in range." The message repeated in various alien languages, but what shocked everyone was that it also included perfect English. The aliens had been watching Earth long enough to learn their languages. Dr. Raman's hand shook as she prepared to respond. Following international protocols for potential first contact, she alerted the United Nations Space Command. Within an hour, representatives from major space agencies worldwide were connected via video conference. "This is Earth responding to your distress signal. We have received your message and are standing by to assist. Please confirm communication." The response came almost instantly. A holographic projection appeared in the center of the control room, showing a tall, elegant alien figure with silvery skin and multiple sets of eyes. Admiral Zextol looked both relieved and confused. You have quantum communication capabilities," the Admiral asked, their voice translating smoothly. "Our data suggested your species was at least a century away from such technology." Dr. Raman exchanged glances with her colleagues. "We don't," she replied honestly. "We detected your signal using modified radio telescopes and quantum sensors we're still developing." The Admiral's multiple eyes blinked in surprise. "Fascinating. Perhaps we underestimated your species' capabilities." They paused before continuing. "Our situation is dire. Our entire fleet's advanced drive systems have failed due to an unexpected interaction with your solar system's unique quantum field. Our backup systems are incompatible with the main drives." As the Admiral explained their technical problems, the Earth scientists took careful notes. The Zarkax ships were slowly drifting, their life support systems running on emergency power. Without help, they would start failing within months. The news spread quickly across Earth. Humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization wasn't them reaching for the stars. It was aliens asking for help. News channels worldwide broadcast the story, and social media exploded with discussions and theories. Dr. Khan, who had first detected the signal, looked at the hologram of the stranded fleet. 300 massive ships, each larger than Earth's largest aircraft carriers, floating helplessly in space. The aliens' technology was centuries ahead of humanity's, yet here they were, asking for help. As the sun rose over the monitoring station in Pakistan, teams of engineers and scientists were already being assembled worldwide. Humanity faced its greatest challenge yet, saving an advanced alien fleet using technology the aliens considered primitive. The irony wasn't lost on anyone, but there was no time to dwell on it. Earth had to prepare for its biggest rescue mission in history. The question wasn't if they would help, but how. The United Nations Emergency Meeting Hall was packed. Leaders from every major nation sat around the massive circular table, their faces showing a mix of concern and excitement. On the giant screen, Admiral Zextol's hologram towered over them. "Our ship's quantum drives are completely dead," the Admiral explained. "The backup systems are too advanced to work with the damaged parts. We need simpler solutions." In the corner of the room, Fatima Khan, a Pakistani-American engineer, listened carefully. She had been called in as part of Earth's emergency response team. While others saw the aliens' advanced technology with awe, she saw something different, an opportunity. "Excuse me," she said, standing up. All eyes turned to her. What if being advanced is actually the problem? What if we need to think backwards? The room fell silent. Even Admiral Zextal's multiple eyes focused on her with interest. "Go on," the UN Secretary-General nodded. Fatima pulled up some diagrams on her tablet. "Their ships are like modern electric cars trying to run without their computers. But what if we gave them something more basic?" She paused for effect. "Like modified diesel engines." Laughter erupted in the room, but it quickly died when Admiral Zextal spoke. "Explain this. Diesel engine. It's primitive by your standards," Fatima continued, her confidence growing. "But it's reliable, easy to fix, and most importantly, it works without complex computers. We could modify it for space use." The alien admiral's expression was unreadable, but their voice carried a hint of hope. "In our pursuit of advancement, we may have overlooked the value of simplicity." Teams of engineers were quickly assembled. The Chinese offered their manufacturing capabilities. Russian space experts provided their knowledge of operating engines in space. American and European scientists worked on fuel modifications. Indian programmers developed new control systems. In a massive hangar in Texas, Fatima led the prototype development. They took apart truck engines, modified them with heat-resistant materials, and adapted them to work in zero gravity. The aliens watched with growing interest as humans used tools they considered ancient. "Your species is surprisingly resourceful," one alien engineer commented, watching Fatima adjust a carburetor by hand. "We haven't used manual tools in centuries." "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," she replied, wiping grease from her hands. "The simpler something is, the harder it is to break." The first test came 3 weeks later. They had modified a standard diesel engine to work with the aliens' fuel. The whole world watched the live stream as they started it up. The engine roared to life, its steady rhythm echoing through the hangar. "It's crude," Admiral Zextal observed through the hologram, "but the energy output is compatible with our systems." There was newfound respect in their voice. The next challenge was even bigger. They needed to make thousands of these engines. Factories around the world switched their production lines. Car manufacturers in Germany, Japan, and South Korea worked around the clock. It became the largest global engineering project in human history. Messages of support poured in from every corner of Earth. Children sent drawings of the alien ships to the project team. Local mechanics offered their help. The whole planet united in a way never seen before. As Fatima watched another successful engine test, she smiled. The aliens had expected to find a primitive species, but instead, they found something else, a civilization that could solve problems in ways they had never imagined. The rescue mission was far from over, but humanity had found its answer. Sometimes, the best solution wasn't the most advanced one. It was the one that simply worked. Next, they would face their biggest challenge yet, getting these engines to the stranded fleet. The Houston Space Center's main workshop looked like a strange mix of a mechanic's garage and a sci-fi movie set. Engineers from 30 different countries worked side by side with alien technicians, creating something that had never existed before, a hybrid of human and alien technology. Fatima Khan stood at her workstation, studying the holographic display the aliens had set up. Next to her, James Chen, a mechanical engineer from Singapore, was taking apart another diesel engine. They had already modified 50 engines, but they needed hundreds more. "The fuel mixture is still not quite right," James said, frowning at his calculations. "We're losing too much power in the conversion process." An alien engineer named Zix floated over to their station. Like all Zarkaks, Zix had silvery skin and multiple eyes. But after weeks of working together, the humans no longer found their appearance strange. "Perhaps," Zix suggested, We are still thinking too much like Zarkax. Show me again how your original engines work." Fatima grabbed a wrench and opened up the engine's fuel injection system. As she explained the basic principles, she noticed Zix's eyes widening with understanding. "Such elegant simplicity," Zix whispered. "We abandoned these mechanical principles centuries ago, but maybe that was a mistake." The breakthrough came at 3 a.m. By combining the basic mechanical principles of diesel engines with the aliens' advanced fuel, they created a hybrid system that was both powerful and reliable. The test engine roared to life, glowing with a strange blue light. News of the success spread quickly. In factories across Earth, production lines switched to full speed. In Japan, robots worked alongside human workers to assemble the modified engines. In Germany, precision engineers fine-tuned each component. In Brazil, innovative fuel systems were developed to handle the alien-human hybrid technology. The aliens watched in amazement as humans used what they considered outdated tools and methods to solve complex problems. When a complicated fuel line broke, a mechanic from Kenya fixed it with a simple rubber hose and some clamps. In our society, Admiral Zextal commented during a progress meeting, "We would have replaced the entire system. Your ability to repair and adapt is remarkable." The first full-scale test came 1 month into the project. They had installed the hybrid engine in a small alien shuttle. Fatima and her team watched from mission control as the shuttle powered up. "Engine temperature stable," reported the Russian flight controller. "Fuel mixture optimal," added the Indian systems engineer. "Power output at 95% and holding," Fatima announced, her heart racing. The shuttle lifted off smoothly, its new engine humming with a sound that was neither entirely human nor entirely alien. As it completed its test flight, cheers erupted across every space center on Earth. But they couldn't celebrate for long. Reports from the stranded fleet showed that their life support systems were starting to strain. They had proven their solution worked, now they had to scale it up dramatically. Working around the clock, engineering teams worldwide pushed themselves to their limits. Coffee and energy drinks fueled the human engineers, while their alien counterparts consumed glowing blue beverages that helped them stay alert. In a moment that would be remembered in human history, the first batch of 100 engines was ready for transport. As they were being loaded onto the transport ships, Fatima noticed something interesting. The aliens had started adopting human engineering habits, carrying tools in pockets, making quick repairs instead of full replacements, and even using duct tape. "We may be saving their fleet," James said with a smile. "But they're learning from us too." The next phase would be the hardest, actually reaching the stranded fleet and installing the engines. But looking at the determined faces around her, both human and alien, Fatima knew they would find a way. They always did. The largest space mission in human history began on a cold morning in Kazakhstan. 12 modified rockets stood ready on their launch pads at Baikonur Cosmodrome, each carrying hybrid engines and repair teams. The sight was both magnificent and strange. Human rockets decorated with both Earth nations' flags and Zarkak symbols. Mission control buzzed with activity. Fatima Khan sat at her station, surrounded by screens showing the status of each rocket. The first emergency message from the alien fleet had come in earlier that morning. 50 ships were now running on minimal life support. "Launch window opens in 10 minutes, announced the flight director. Around the room, engineers from different countries checked and double-checked their systems. Years of international rivalry had been forgotten in the face of this crisis. The first rocket lifted off in a burst of flame and smoke. One by one, the others followed, their paths lighting up the dawn sky. In orbit, they would link up with the small fleet of alien transport ships that would carry them to the stranded Zarkax fleet. On the main screen, Admiral Zextal watched the launches with all 4 eyes wide open. "Your species continues to surprise us," they said. "Our own rescue attempts would have taken months of planning. You assembled this mission in weeks. The journey to the Kuiper Belt would take 2 weeks, even with the aliens' advanced transport technology. Every hour counted now. Reports from the stranded fleet grew more urgent as more ships began losing power. Aboard the lead transport ship, Sarah Chen, a space engineer from Malaysia, helped organize the repair teams. Each team was a mix of human mechanics and alien technicians. They had practiced the installation procedures countless times on Earth, but doing it in deep space would be different. "Remember," she told her team during a briefing, "we're not just installing engines. We're making history." Each repair brings two civilizations closer together. The humans had insisted on bringing their own tools along with the hybrid engines. The aliens had found this amusing at first, but they stopped laughing when they saw how quickly humans could solve problems with simple wrenches and screwdrivers. 2 weeks passed like years. Finally, the rescue fleet arrived at the stranded ships. The sight took everyone's breath away. Hundreds of massive alien vessels, each one dark and silent, floating against the backdrop of distant stars. "First target ship in range," reported the pilot. "Beginning docking procedure." The repair teams moved into action. Wearing specially designed suits that combined human spacesuits with alien technology, they entered the first ship. The corridors were dark, lit only by emergency lights and their helmet beams. Working in zero gravity, they installed the first hybrid engine. Everyone in mission control held their breath as they initiated the startup sequence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low hum that built into a steady roar, the engine came to life. Lights flickered on throughout the ship as power was restored. Cheers erupted across every space center on Earth. But they couldn't celebrate long. There were still hundreds of ships to save. The repair teams worked tirelessly, moving from ship to ship. What they lacked in advanced technology, they made up for in speed and determination. The aliens watched in amazement as humans used simple tools and creative solutions to solve problems their advanced technology couldn't handle. Back on Earth, factories continued producing engines around the clock. More rockets were being prepared for launch, carrying fresh supplies and replacement parts. The whole operation had become a symphony of human ingenuity and determination. As Fatima watched another successful engine installation on her screen, she realized something important. The aliens had called for help expecting to find a primitive species. Instead, they found something far more valuable, a civilization that refused to give up, no matter the odds. But their biggest challenge was still to come, and time was running out. The warning came without notice. Earth's solar monitoring stations detected a massive solar storm heading straight for the Kuiper Belt. Inside mission control, alarms blared as data streams showed the approaching disaster. "Class X solar flare," announced Dr. Rodriguez from the Space Weather Center in Mexico. "It's one of the largest we've ever recorded." Fatima Khan felt her heart sink as she looked at the projected path. The storm would hit the exact area where hundreds of repair teams were working to save the alien fleet. They had already fixed 120 ships, but more than half the fleet was still powerless. Admiral Zextal's hologram flickered with concern. "Our ship's normal shields would protect us, but without power. How long do we have?" Fatima asked, already running calculations in her head. 6 hours until impact," Dr. Rodriguez replied. "Not enough time to evacuate everyone." The room fell silent. Then James Chen spoke up from his station. "What if we use the repaired ships to shield the others?" It was a crazy plan, but they had no choice. The repaired ships, with their hybrid engines running, could generate enough power for basic shields, but positioning them would be like playing a giant game of chess in space. Sarah Chen, still working on the repair teams, took charge of the operation. Using hand signals and basic tools, her teams began moving the powered ships into protective formations around their powerless sisters. The sight was incredible, huge alien vessels being maneuvered by tiny human repair pods. 3 hours until impact, came the update. The aliens watched in amazement as humans improvised solutions with whatever they had. When they needed to strengthen the shields, engineers used parts from their own repair ships. When communication systems failed, they used signal mirrors and flashlights to coordinate. 2 hours remaining. Inside one of the powerless ships, a team led by Ahmed Hassan from Egypt worked frantically to install another hybrid engine. They needed every powered ship they could get for the shield wall. Sweat floated in drops inside their helmets as they raced against time. 1 hour left. The shield wall was almost complete. The powered ships formed a protective barrier around their vulnerable fleetmates, but there was a problem. The shields were weakening faster than expected. The hybrid engines weren't designed for this much power output, Fatima realized. They're overheating. In that moment, human ingenuity shone brightest. Repair teams used their suit cooling systems to create makeshift heat sinks. Others vented oxygen in controlled bursts to help cool the engines. Every trick, every hack, every crazy idea was tried. Solar storm approaching. Impact in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The storm hit like a wall of fire. Energy readings went off the scales. Inside the protected zone, repair teams huddled in their ships, watching through reinforced windows as space itself seemed to burn. For 30 minutes, they held their breath. The hybrid engines screamed under the strain, pushed far beyond their design limits. But they held. The impossible combination of human engineering and alien technology stood firm against nature's fury. When the storm passed, cheers erupted across the fleet, and back on Earth. Not a single ship had been lost. The shield wall had held. More importantly, the Zarkax had witnessed something extraordinary. They had seen humans face impossible odds with nothing but determination and creativity. They had watched as their rescuers refused to give up, finding solutions where none should have existed. As the teams returned to their repair work, now heroes to 2 civilizations, Admiral Zextal made an announcement that would be remembered for generations. Today, we learned that true advancement isn't measured by technology alone, but by the spirit of those who use it. Earth has taught us this lesson well. But the mission wasn't over yet. They still had more ships to repair, and now everyone knew that time could be their enemy. The mood aboard the Zarkax command ship had changed dramatically. Where once there had been doubt about human capabilities, now there was respect. Engineers from both species worked side by side, sharing not just technical knowledge but stories and cultures. Fatima Khan found herself sitting in what the aliens called a rest chamber, sharing Earth food with Zix and other Zarkax engineers. The aliens were particularly fascinated by something as simple as a chocolate cookie. The way you combine different ingredients to create new experiences, Zix said, carefully examining the cookie. It's similar to how you approach engineering problems. Simple elements, combined with creativity. The repair mission had turned into something much bigger. As the last 100 ships were being fitted with hybrid engines, the Zarkax High Council made an unprecedented decision. They would share their technological database with Earth. Your species has earned more than our gratitude, Admiral Zextal announced during a global broadcast. You've earned our trust and respect. We were wrong to consider you primitive. Your solutions prove that progress isn't always about complexity. In mission control, teams watched in awe as the first data packets arrived. Star maps showing thousands of inhabited worlds, clean energy systems that could power entire cities, medical technologies beyond human imagination. But the Zarkax were learning from humans too. They watched with fascination as Sarah Chen taught their engineers about mechanical redundancy, having backup systems that could be repaired with basic tools. They studied how humans used simple machines to solve complex problems. We became so focused on advancement, one alien scientist admitted, that we forgot the value of simplicity. Your species reminds us that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. The cultural exchange went beyond technology. Human foods, music, and art were shared with the aliens. The Zarkax, in turn, showed humans their own forms of expression. Colors humans had never seen, sounds that told stories across space. James Chen organized what he called a space barbecue aboard one of the repair ships. The sight of serious alien diplomats trying to eat hot dogs and burger patties while floating in zero gravity would be remembered for years to come. Food brings people together, James explained to a confused alien diplomat. Even if those people are from different planets. Back on Earth, the impact was enormous. Countries that had once been rivals now worked together on joint projects using the new alien technology. The hybrid engines, born from the emergency, were being adapted for Earth's first deep space vessels. Universities worldwide began offering courses in cross-species engineering, studying how to combine different technological approaches. The Zarkaks sent their own students to learn from human engineers, particularly interested in what they called human intuitive repair methods. In a ceremony aboard the flagship, Admiral Zextal did something unprecedented. They presented Earth with an invitation to join the Galactic Council, decades ahead of when Earth would have normally been considered. Your species has shown us that true advancement isn't measured in technology alone, the Admiral declared. It's measured in resourcefulness, determination, and the ability to bring people together to solve problems. Fatima, watching the ceremony, remembered how it all started with a distress signal and a crazy idea about diesel engines. Now, humanity was taking its first steps into a larger universe, not as a primitive species needing guidance, but as equals who had proven their worth. We came asking for help, Zix said to her during the celebration. We found not just rescuers, but teachers. As the last few ships were being repaired, both species knew that this was just the beginning. A new chapter in human history had begun, all because they dared to solve an advanced problem with simple solutions. But there was still one more task to complete before this adventure would end. 1 year after the Great Rescue, Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined. The sight of Zarkak's ships in Earth's orbit had become normal. The once empty space station now served as humanity's first interstellar embassy, where representatives from dozens of alien species came to learn about the species that saved the mighty Zarkak's fleet. Fatima Khan stood at the window of her new office in the International Space Technology Center, watching ships take off using the hybrid engines that had started it all. What began as an emergency solution had become a symbol of human ingenuity across the galaxy. Professor Khan, her assistant called, the students from the Centauri Academy are here for their tour. The classroom was filled with both human and alien students. Young Zarkaks floated beside human teenagers, all eager to learn about what the galaxy now called the human approach to engineering. Can anyone tell me why the hybrid engine was successful? Fatima asked the class. The young Zarkaks raised 3 hands. Because it combines simple mechanical principles with advanced technology. Exactly, Fatima smiled. But more importantly, it showed the galaxy that progress doesn't always mean making things more complex. The story had spread far beyond Earth's solar system. On thousands of worlds, engineers studied how a supposedly primitive species had solved an advanced problem with basic technology. The term pulling a human had become common across the galaxy, meaning to solve a complex problem with a simple solution. James Chen, now heading Earth's first interstellar repair fleet, often told newcomers, the galaxy thought we were behind because we still used wrenches and screwdrivers. Turns out, we were ahead because we never forgot how to use them. The changes weren't just technological. Earth's unity, forged in crisis, had lasted. The International Space Technology Center had branches in every major city, where humans and aliens worked together to solve problems old and new. Sarah Chen had become an instructor at the first Human Alien Engineering Academy, teaching what she called emergency innovation, the human talent for finding solutions with whatever was available. Her classes were always full, with some alien students traveling light years to attend. Admiral Zextal, now Earth's strongest advocate in the Galactic Council, often used the rescue mission as an example of why technological advancement alone didn't define a civilization's worth. The humans reminded us of something we had forgotten. They would say, the most reliable solution is often the simplest one. In orbit, the first human-designed interstellar ships were being built. They looked different from other alien vessels, combining simple, reliable systems with advanced technology. Other species had started copying the design, calling it human-style engineering. The hybrid engines themselves had evolved. The new versions were more efficient, more powerful, but they kept their basic mechanical principles. Every engine still had parts that could be fixed with a wrench, just in case. Zix, who had become Earth's first alien resident engineer, often said, "Humans taught us that being prepared for things to go wrong is just as important as trying to make them go right." As Fatima finished her lecture, a message came through on her communicator. Another alien fleet, far across the galaxy, needed help with a technical problem. They had specifically requested human engineers. And that, she told her students with a smile, is how you change the galaxy. Not by being the most advanced, but by being the most resourceful. Outside her window, Earth's first deep space rescue ship prepared for launch. Its hull bore a new symbol, a simple wrench crossed with an alien power core, the official emblem of Earth's interstellar engineering corps. The legacy of those desperate weeks when humanity saved the Zarkax fleet would echo across the stars for generations to come. Earth had proven that there was still room in an advanced galaxy for those who remembered the value of simple solutions. The future belonged to those who could bridge the gap between the simple and the advanced, between the old and the new. And humanity was leading the way, one wrench turn at a time.